Hi everyone, I'm 10 Tampa Bay Chief Meteorologist Bobby Deskins. Tropical update for this Monday afternoon. Let's start on the west coast. That's what's left of Hillary, basically moving up through Oregon now up towards the northwest United States. But you can see almost all of it is out of there now. So great news for Southern California, for Southern Nevada. Still some rain in parts of central and western Arizona. And that's that warm tropical flow moving all the way up through Utah. So these areas don't get a whole lot of rain this time of the year. So that will continue, and if you notice, it's kind of moving in the same direction over the same areas. So the flooding threat is still not over. We're going to have to watch some of these areas in here. They're going to add that rain up. And so they haven't been hit that hard. The hardest hit part was over in California. But you can see now there's upper level low here. That's kind of the reason why it got shunned up to the north like that. But that rain will continue to slowly fade in northern California. Rainfall totals anywhere from 1 inch to 3 for most areas, but look at some of these numbers around LA. Orange County was a little less than this, but 5.5 inches estimated by the Doppler, that is. 4.5 basically just north of there, and east and southeast of downtown was closer to 5 inches of rain as well too. Now, let's switch gears and come over to the west coast. That is a lot to talk about. But having said that, for Florida and most of the United States, there's not much that we're concerned about. This one right here, which is potential tropical cyclone 9, that will move in to Texas. We need to talk about that one. And then Franklin. Franklin will actually drift northward. It's already raining in parts of Puerto Rico, but Hispaniola, we're talking especially Dominican Republic, but even Haiti, heavy rainfall is forecast for them over the next 48 hours. Those are the two areas that we really need to watch. The systems out in the central and eastern part of the Atlantic are, well, Emily fell apart. And we're not too concerned about the ones coming off of Africa. They'll stay out there. So let's talk about potential tropical cyclone 9. You can see the center out here now. Really big envelope of moisture. The outflow has been pretty good. You can see the top shooting off like that. That's an indication of high pressure aloft, and so that allows it to develop a little bit more. You can see the rain's not far away, but here's the problem. It's not technically, structure-wise, organized enough to call it a depression, certainly not a tropical storm. So what the Hurricane Center does is they give this thing a name called a potential tropical cyclone. And they do that because they think it's going to strengthen and bring weather to the coast within 48 hours. They said, look, we can't issue warnings on it because it is nothing technically right now. But they think it will be, so they give it a potential tropical cyclone name. Then they can issue warnings, give the public a heads up. It gets a cone, and from this cone, you can see by tomorrow morning, 45-mile-per-hour winds. That would be Tropical Storm Harold. That's the next name on the list. Wind was not likely going to be an issue for them as much. I mean, there'll be a small tornado threat, but rainfall will likely be the heaviest issue for them. So these potential tropical cyclones, they're issued before it becomes a depression or a storm. They're just not technically structure-wise enough to be able to be named something. It allows the National Weather Service, and here's the important part, to get out those watches and warnings within about 48 hours, within 48 hours of landfall. So basically, heads up, here comes something, right? Contains all National Hurricane Center advisories and products and watches. All of that will end up basically coming with the watches and warnings. But that is basically how those work. Now, let's go back out towards the Caribbean. You can see we've got showers and thunderstorms, a whole bunch of them here in the central Caribbean. This is going to take a hard right turn to the north. Now, it's already raining in parts of the Virgin Islands, St. Martin, up into San Juan, kind of on and off. But this should come a little bit more to the northwest and then come right over the eastern part of Hispaniola. So look, that is the main concern for flooding there. I think especially Dominican Republic is going to get some of the heaviest rain. It does try and strengthen. Right now, winds are at 50 miles per hour. It's forecast to go to 60 and then move on shore. There's some shear here as well. It'll weaken as it crosses, but then look at this. It comes back out to the north and northeast and strengthens. Now, that's moving away from land. That's good news. I do think eventually that would be a surf maker. Swell will be pushing along the east coast from Florida all the way up through the Carolinas. Forecast models, you can see in pretty good agreement and basically right along where the Hurricane Center forecast is. Now, tropical wind shear, we do have some, and it's kind of facing it just a little bit now, and we'll see more as it drifts to the north, but still thinking it's going to be able to fight that off. And then the system here in the Gulf of Mexico is just too close to land. Whether it organizes any more or not, the forecast calls for a little bit. It's definitely bringing some heavy rain in that direction. GFS model, kind of showing you the whole basin here. There's Franklin moving that way. A couple waves here, again, out in the middle of the ocean, so no concerns. So bottom line is, you know, we went from nothing to a whole lot We added a bunch of names to the list. We added Emily, Franklin, and Gert, and looks like we could get Harold within the next 24 to 48 hours or so. So the names are piling up, but again, if you're going to get these names, it's nice to have it so it's not really affecting you. Beautiful out there this afternoon. Showers and storms will be on the low side the next couple of days.